Homeowners in the Brookstone and Green Island Hills areas of Columbus won't soon forget the black skies, deafening noise, and heartbreaking destruction of last year's tornado. The storm struck Columbus with such ferocity 1 year later, some families are still in the process of picking up the pieces. The following are tales of disbelief, survival, loss, and renewal from those whose lives were uprooted on March 1st, 2007, the day the tornado touched down.
The nice thing about our yard was, that it was like its own little oasis. It was all.
My daughter had to run down to get some wipes down at the Big Lot store, and she was gone, I don't know, 30 seconds, and she came back and her eyes were really big, and she said, "I saw a tornado."
It sounded to me like a jet engine. It was so loud.
And we were eating at the kitchen table, and the sirens went off. Here in Columbus, Georgia, they blow them a lot, so I wasn't really worried about it.
I was taking a nap, and I heard my mom screaming out in the hall for me to get in the hallway or whatever, but I kind of just ignored it because my dad said, the sirens always go off.
Bad.
So
And then Rebecca came in and she was in tears, and she said, all the trees are gone. All the trees are on the road. And of course, then we started to realize the magnitude of, really what had happened.
And then we looked and we saw our daughter's bedroom outside. And that's when we actually turned and looked and saw that the back end of our house was basically gone. And at that point, I just remember my legs going to jelly.
The whole side wall, the window and everything was gone, the roof was gone, and our daughter was down in the floor laying under a bunch of debris.
when my dad finally came in here, he picked me up and he was carrying me out, and I remember just screaming, "My nose is broken, my nose is broken."
I wonder what it's going to be like, when we come in and the first real storm comes up. Well, we're going to take it a little bit more seriously. We're not going to dive in the closet the last second the next time.
Corinne Holton hopes to move back into her house in 2 weeks. Even though the rebuilding process was slow, she is looking forward to the end result. Joni Horton's home underwent renovations that went until May. Her experience with the contractor wasn't as positive, but in the end, both were grateful to have had insurance. Reporting for the Ledger Enquirer, I'm Lily Gordon.